So we're continuing with an important but bad book. I'm Mark Stewart, talking about White Fragility by Robin DiAngelo. And we're only on chapter 1, page 2. But yet another untruth, and it's a big one, she brings up near the bottom of the page. This is page 8. Racial hierarchy. That it is still in place in America, and this is not true. This was true 50 and more years ago. It is manifestly untrue now, and she knows this. She uses thoughts of the past, agitations about the present that don't exist, to rile people to actions that we shouldn't be taking, actions by government to impose things. Racial hierarchy was true 50 and more years ago. It is not true anymore. Now, I suspect that later in this book, she will point out discrepancies in high-level appointments, job elevations, which are still more skewed towards whites over blacks than the population would normally say. But it is skewed because of a very American and good thing called meritocracy, and individualism, which allows merit to shine, is exactly what eviscerates racism. Individualism means when you're good, you do get elevated. And it happens all the time in corporate America for blacks, by blacks, because they are good. Indeed, it's younger African American women who now out-earn younger white men. Merit is what's behind it. Though I haven't made a survey, I actually suspect that these high-earning younger black women are elevating themselves because of a disdain for these classifications of race that don't exist. That word merit, Robin DiAngelo uses in a disparaging way. She thinks that the ideology of meritocracy is evil, that it holds this racial hierarchy in place. Martin Luther King would vehemently disagree with this. Every successful African American, whether professional, tradesman, athlete, who is doing well, is proud of her or his merit. This same very bad paragraph talks wrongly about, quote, depictions of whiteness as the human ideal. I've lived 56 years in 4 states. I'm fairly well traveled. I have never seen such a depiction. I've never been exposed to it. There have been no code words shown to me, a white guy, that whiteness is the human ideal. I do know this, that white Americans, for 19 out of 20 straight years, voted black people as the #1 most admired American, okay? From the mid-90s, when it was Michael Jordan and Colin Powell and then Tiger Woods and then Barack Obama, okay? 19 out of 20 years in a row. Indeed, it was white Americans who, when polled, would have elected Obama to a 3rd term if it was constitutionally available. It was white American producers and fans of this guy whose slogan for Michael Jordan is, "Be like Mike." And it was taken up pretty darn well by white Americans for whom now it's cool to be bald. He saved a lot of middle-aged white guys. You can't possibly say that there is an ideal of whiteness left in America. And finally, this same horrible paragraph concludes that there is open talk of white solidarity. If anything, whites that are in groups that are exclusively white based on choice of membership do not feel good about that, okay? I've worked in 2 law firms that were underrepresented by African Americans, and they went out of their way to get more qualified African Americans in. Colleges. We have parents, white parents, who are content to sacrifice money and places for their kids in college for the sake of elevating less privileged, almost always minority kids to those colleges. That is not a solidarity to keep blacks down. It's an aspect of reverse racism that is manifestly helping African Americans, because the greatest equalizer for somebody who's grown up in an underprivileged place is a 4-year college degree. And whites for the last 40 years have been willing to be in a system that sacrifices their own kids' places so that there's more opportunities for that ascent by African American youth. I'm Mark Stewart.